want to have a look at the new tool at Bookie Bashing, Match Center under football. So the Match Center brings together all of the information we have for a single match into one place. Now this can be useful, for example, if you're coming up to Tottenham versus West Ham, which is tomorrow lunchtime. You might want to have a look at all of these markets for both teams to score, first goal scorer, player to be carded, player to get a hat-trick, shots on target in the first half, tackles and things like this. Before all of this information is at Bookie Bashing, you can go into our tools, whichever tool is relevant to each market, and you can find out the fair odds, and you can value bet if you can get a back that is higher or a lay that is lower, or you can market make or you can trade. Okay? However, what we've done now with the match centers, we've brought all of that into one place. So when you open the tool, the first thing that you see is today's games ordered by time. So I want tomorrow's games, but I'm actually going to filter by the English Premier League. And the first game I see is Tottenham versus West Ham. Now, depending on the game and depending how far it is in the future, you'll get different markets. For example, this game in a couple of weeks, there won't be that much data for it. Whereas there'll be more data for Tottenham versus West Ham. And as we get closer to kickoff and the games are bigger, we get more data. But the first thing I see when I open it up is I see that Tottenham are 1.53, draw 5.3, West Ham are 6.4. And here's the last 5 games. Tottenham have been jumping around in Europe in the Premier League, 4 victories and a loss, but a lot of goals scored by Tottenham. West Ham have just been playing Premier League games, 2 losses, 2 draws and a win. And at the bottom here, I start off with all of the players in the game. And these are the fair odds derived by Bookie Bashing's Player XG tool. So I want to be betting 2.24 for anytime goal scorer. For Solanke, 6.45 for first goal scorer. He's 6 on the exchange just now, so that's a value lay. 2+ and 3+ odds, and some Betfred Double Delight Hat-Trick Heaven odds. And there's some different calculators along here. Scorecast, anytime scorecast, wincast, anytime wincast, some history about penalties and whether they've been scored or not, to score or assist. Now, this is every player that is priced up, whether they're going to start or not, whether they've got a broken leg or not, all the way down to Vladimir Kufal, who has an XG of 0.02, 50 to 1 to get a goal in this game. Now, I can go and trade these markets, but I'd probably want to put in the lineups. So I can add lineups here by clicking add lineups, and then all the players are here, and I can add some lineups to the right for Tottenham. And I could also save them and load them up, and I actually did a Tom early Spurs lineup earlier, so I'm just going to load that up, which I got from Who Scored. And now I've got a lineup, and now I see some slightly different numbers. So now the Bookie Bashing anytime goal scorer numbers can help me if I can get 4.73 for Jared Bowen. Anything over that's going to be a back. Anything under that's going to be a lay. So that just makes the numbers a little bit more precise, because now we've fitted the outfield 20 players to equal the match XG, and everybody else is not playing. But not just player XG, I can have a look at goals, corners and cards. I can have a look at player shots on target and shots and assists and cards and tackles and passes and fouls and score and assist. If I have a look at goals, for example, these are all the game center derivative goal markets, from team to win and both teams to score to over 8.5 goals is 80 to 1. You know, either team to win and both teams to score, etc. So anything that involves a goal. You can enter your own markets in here if we don't have them, but we've got the majority of them, you know. So you could go into any of these standard markets, start trading them, value betting them. You could even go into the enhanced specials, where I think I saw Tottenham to win and both teams to score. You can back it at 2.35, late at 2.85. Well, if we go into the match center and just scroll down to one of the popular markets, Tottenham to win and both teams to score is 2.68. So I would want to be trading up at 2.8, laying down at 2.4. But at least that gives me an idea of where I'm market making there. Or there's a more complicated one here. Tottenham versus West Ham. 3 goals, 6 cards and 9 corners. Now for that I would need a calculator. Traditionally the bet builder at Bookie Bashing, but we've linked that in. So if we pop over to the calculator and we can bring up Tottenham versus West Ham in the Premiership, which, because it's the first game in the Premiership, I think it will be the main game that's showing. And the bet was, what was it? It was 3 goals, 6 cards, quite a lot of cards that, and 9 corners. So if I get XG total to be over 2, and then change the next one to be cards over 5, and then change corners to over 8. Then I can see what the fair odds are of this, which I now find out are 6.89, and I can currently back at 7.2, so that's a back. 7.3 is even better, but I know at least what I'm doing with this. I'm not going to be doing much laying with it just now, and I can save that to my private tracker. I might just want to save that to Steam Drift track, so I'm not tracking the back odds at a bookmaker. I just want to know what that bet's doing, if it steams in or drifts over the next 24 hours. Before I want to go back into the match center, I've also got some data towards here about the league table. So where are Liverpool? Oh, they are top. Critically, where are Tottenham? They're down here. They've played 7, won 3. They've got 10 points, and West Ham are just a couple of points behind them. Newcastle, which I need to know, have got 12 points, are in 7th. So the league table just gives me an idea of, you know, recent form and the recent games. Also, something we're going to build in very soon, and under the player XG, let's take Dominic Solanke. If I click the I next to his name, which isn't here now, but will be in the next couple of weeks when IT just build it in, it'll take me to a match log, an archive match log that tells me what Dominic Solanke has been getting up to. So let's imagine I click that now. I then I've entered Dominic Solanke's name here to bring him up, but it will come up automatically in maybe a pop-up window as opposed to a new tab, as you see here. And I see Dominic Solanke the last 6 games. Well, he started 5 of the 6, played 90 in 4 of those 5s and 88 in the other one. He didn't start 1, and he did come on and only played 8 minutes. Now, that might be very interesting for me. That was the Europa League game. Whereas the rest were Premier League games. And all of this aids in my decision-making. He's had a couple of goals from those 5 games that he's started. He hasn't had any yellows. He hasn't had any reds. And he's scored 0 and missed 0 penalties. And if I want to go back a season, whether this is relevant in 2023, because he was playing for Bournemouth, I'll leave up to you, but I can get some information about the goals that he scored, how frequently he got a yellow card. Did he ever take a penalty? It doesn't look like he did. He never really got sent off either. And, you know, how many times he played. Whether this information is relevant to the current game against West Ham, that is for you to decide, not me. But this is just a little bit of historical player data that we have in the database. So that's the match center. Really, all of this information existed already. You can load new lineups. You can save lineups to a group if you want to sort of, you know, get a few of you together to do a few games and see how the numbers pan out. And you can sort of switch between goals and team corners and cards and all of these different databases that we have just for the single game, which I think I would find particularly useful, especially if I was loading the exchange up at 12 o'clock. I don't want to be bouncing around different tools. I just want to be having a look at sort of the same area, and I want all the information for Tottenham versus West Ham to be in the same place. And that is exactly what the Match Center does for us.